Hi, this is Rabbi Orlofsky, and welcome to the special Ben Azmanim edition of the Rabbi Orlofsky Show. And whether you're listening on Torah anytime, or wherever you listen or watch your podcast, we're so excited to have you on board. And in honor of Ben Azmanim, I once again, the only person who has been on the Rabbi Orlofsky podcast 3 times, except for myself. I've been here even more. And I brought back my son Yaakov because we're going to be discussing the experience of Ben Azmanim from the perspective of a yeshiva bacher. And you have intimate information about yeshiva bachrim. Is this correct?
Well, first, thank you so much for having me. It's great to be back on a special Ben Azmanim edition. Indeed, I think I have more information that should be shared on this kind of show.
No, because you work in a yeshiva.
I do, and I have been in yeshiva since I was 13.
Right.
20 years, coming up on 20 years.
So, Bein Hazi.
Bein Hazi, baby.
So what happens? What's the experience when people decide, like, wow, it's Bein Azmanim?
Oh, this differs.
I got to tell you, I taught in Derech once upon a time, and I had the shear of guys who were like I would open the shear door at 9 o'clock, and when I got there, everybody was waiting outside the door, So we had a few days off, Hanukkah time or something, So I said, did everybody have a good time? So I said, yeah, so I asked one guy, I said, what did you do? He says, well, it gave me an opportunity to listen to my Avigdor Miller tapes. So some people really know how to party, yeah? So, but you've had different experiences with Bachram.
Well, I'll tell you, it really differs in between American and Israeli yeshiva bachrim.
How's that?
Well, a lot of the American yeshiva bachrim, or at least those who do, they go to camp or they do different camps, either here or back home. Not so much in the Israeli world. There are not so many Israeli camps and stuff that maybe in today's day, back in my day, there weren't. Maybe it was one. The majority of the guys didn't do that. Some yeshivas had what they called a camp, where they go away for a few days and they take all the bachrim and stuff. And
Camp Aguda, Camp Torah V'das. These were camps that the yeshivas go away. Chavetz Chaim had a camp. They go up into the mountains.
Yeah, there was one year.
Famous picture with Rabbi Moishy Feinstein, in his short sleeves out in the out in the mountains.
There was one year you took us. We went. We did the bungalows and all the camps.
What a dark period. No, my wife grew up going to bungalow colonies, and we also used to rough it. We would go away to Grossinger's, which was a resort hotel in a town called Grossinger's. They named it had its own post office. And there were times we couldn't get into the Paul G. We had to go into never the actual Jenny G, but one of the other divisions that weren't the top division, and it was very rough. They gave you in the restaurant, 3 meals a day, and you had an ice skating rink and, and a miniature golf course and,
Mamash Masil's Nefesh.
Mamash Masil's Nefesh. We went away with,
it was terrible, yeah.
And it was, but to go to a bungalow colony and like somebody sleeps in the kitchen, and it's like basically being a refugee, in one of these things. But they say it's great because the kids get to go outside, etc. So I had never had this experience because my parents, wouldn't let me. But so we had friends of ours who one year gave us their bungalow, and we went away to a bungalow colony, and it was quite an experience. I called up my brother. And he says, where are you? I said, I'm in a bungalow colony. He says, what are you doing? I said, I'm sitting on the front porch listening to myself sweat. And so the women all form this circle. They have to sit in the circle all day. I don't think they're allowed to leave except they go to their bungalow to make pasta, you know what I mean? And the kids, and then they come back. And the pool is open all the time, and there's a day camp, and it's a whole different experience. So you had that.
I would say I did not have that experience ever in my life.
Didn't you come to the bungalow?
Yes, our experience was different because we actually stayed in Camp Sternberg. They had some kind of deal with you.
No, but we went to a bungalow. You went with us with the bungalow?
No, I got in trouble with the army and I couldn't leave.
I
was stuck here. I was punished. Sheesh. You guys all left. You left me here for a month and a half.
Right. Well, then luckily you got cancer, so then you were able to get out whenever you wanted.
Maybe that's why. Oh, it just came to me.
I was like, did I go to a bungalow or get cancer? This is a real
I was all
toss-up.
emotional. Now I got it.
But yeah, well, that was the summer. Yeah, we were in Camp
You guys
Sternberg.
did it, yeah. But the one we did, we had cancer. I was locked in the bungalow the whole time.
When Yaakov was young, I had 8 daughters and Yaakov, and so we went to stay at Camp Sternberg. That was our base. As I was speaking around the mountains, and Yaakov, I think he actually snuck out once to play basketball, and it was.
And she caught me.
They caught him anyway. But yeah, so we did the bungalow colony,
Yeah,
which is
so
a lot of,
we
and
did
what
that.
they do, which is a lot of fun. Oh, tell you for fun, everybody goes and waits online in Walmart. Like they go at night. There's only one cashier
that.
open, and there were 6,000 Jews lined up for this one cashier, so that they can buy something at Walmart. Not even that they need anything, but that is the night activity up in the mountains. Go out and wait.
But that was a fun summer. You took us to LA and we did Disneyland and stuff, and drove to Baltimore and Pennsylvania. We were
did
all
kinds
around.
of stuff.
all
Yeah,
around.
well, yeah, but
It was
that's
a
not
full-pack summer.
that's not the average one.
That's not the average, no.
So the average American Bach, I don't know what they do in Bismarck. They
So-
go up to the mountains, huh?
A lot of them do camps and stuff. I'm not saying they all do. Some of them just do whatever they do. But when it comes to the Israeli guys, it really splits into two. There's the ones who want to just chill out. You know, they had a long year, and they're just gonna chill out. That means you get up for late chakras. You have a Benazman and breakfast, which is something you don't always have time for. Can't really, spend the time making it. We always had with you our Benazman and breakfast that we used to have.
No, but the minhag over here, at least in my immediate neighborhood, seems to be that they all like to sit out in the mirpes at about 2:00 in the morning and scream at each other, so that like when you're like. If you try to like leave a window open because it's so hot, you know what I mean? You know, go, no, Dodim, you know, and you always hear like someone going, shh, shh, but nobody can hear it. Anyway, so so there's the chillers, and then there's
the hikers, the campers, the hikers, those who want to go and find some mountain and literally climb down to see maybe sometimes some water, maybe sometimes not, and then climb up. It literally goes from 6 to 11-hour hikes.
Now, we talked about this during Pesach when we talked
Yes.
about that. But when Chol Moed, it's more like family trips.
Right.
But Ben Ismanim in the summertime is the Bachrim are out there running wild.
On their own, definitely.
Completely unsupervised.
Right, each one
and
in his
every
way.
Ben Ismanim, Nebuch, you hear about terrible things. People get hurt. People get killed. Terrible things happen. People go and get dehydrated.
Even when I was younger and stuff, I can't remember one time that we went as a group to any of these kind of hikes and stuff, and there wasn't at least one kid or one bach, whatever it was, even when we were older, who either broke a leg, broke a hand, got dehydrated. I can't remember once. I literally can't remember once. And that's why I never do hikes anymore. I just sit in a big air conditioning room with ice cream and.
No, well, you one day took it to you took your brothers to the Ben and Jerry's store.
That's a classic man. That's modern day.
That's called roughing it. Some people go on a hike. You went to the Ben
We started our day.
and Jerry's store.
We first went to buy falafel, and then we bought some drinks and chocolate for the car. We drove to Ben and Jerry. We bought some Ben and Jerry, probably Chalav Yisrael, I'm not sure. And then
I'm sure. What are you talking about? I'm sure.
And then and then we came back and we had pizza for supper, and it was a fine day. I thought it was a fine day. I think everyone enjoyed it more than those other days. And you're literally hiking the last 4 hours, and it doesn't end. And you look in and out, it just doesn't end.
And what's interesting is
water
people don't
finishes
realize this. Because Yerushalayim is dry, you become dehydrated without realizing it.
Yeah.
People don't even realize that they're getting dehydrated. And Ramesha Shapiro once pointed out that the Lashon Shas Libay, it's like the decision of your heart, the choice of your heart, says Shtia is related to that because you can keep drinking all day. By eating, there's something called a chilas gasa. I can't eat anymore. Physically can't eat. If I eat, I'm going to throw up. Drinking, you can keep drinking all day. Yeah? And you can forget to drink and end up dying of thirst without realizing it. You can never starve to death without realizing it. So that drinking, you have to really, they tell you to take these bottles and to drink it, and people have to be very careful.
And you got to take a lot of water all the time.
People come to yeshiva or seminary in the beginning of the new year. They right away start getting these terrible headaches. They don't realize why, because they're getting dehydrated, and they don't know it. So that's why I'm wearing my cap, to remind people to wear their cap. This is the only cap I was able to find here. This is not a statement. I'm not going to Chicago in the middle of the night to beat up Jesse Smollett. but I... It was the only one I could find was a red one. But anyway...
You know, if you did, you would be the only one. So the first time ever. So.
I was going to go out and get a rope and a Subway sandwich. But anyway... So that you have to remember to wear hats and to drink and to take precautions. People go out swimming; they don't realize the riptides and that. And now here in Eretz we're having the jellyfish on the beaches attacking and stuff.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But I asked you to come specifically to share a particular story because this was a story that took place when I was in America. Because if I was here, I'd like to believe. I'd like to at least believe that I would have tried to have had some kind of, input or shlita, etc. But I was not here. And you decided, wouldn't it be nice to go and see the snow on the Hermon? Now, for those of you who come to America, come from other places, in Israel, it's considered very exciting when it snows. Here in Yerushalayim, it is essentially my tefillas, against thousands of little children, all of whom are davening for snow, and I'm saying, please God, no, because the snow removal that they have here are basically brooms. That's all they have, and they try to brush it off. There's no concept of what it means. One time we had a big snowstorm. The city was closed down for a month. It was just unbelievable. They didn't know what to do with it, and snow. So for Israel, now this happened when I lived in L.A. Also, people went up to the Big Bear Mountains because there'd be snow. Yeah. Whereas I moved to LA so there would not be any snow. I grew up in New York, and it was snowstorm after snowstorm. You went there once after my heart attack. I couldn't go.
Yeah.
And you just kept digging out your car
every time,
storm after storm. And but here it's very exciting. So you decided, wouldn't it be nice to go to the Hermon?
Yeah. In my defense, I was 18 years old. And it was in the middle of the winter, sometime around Hanukkah time. And for whatever reasons, we had vacation or not, I can't remember. But
I was in America.
Yes, he was. And so
just so you should know, there was one time that Yaakov asked me for something, and I said, I don't think so. And he says, listen, you could either say yes, or I could nag Ima until she says yes. And I will. And I said, okay, fine.
I don't remember that story, and that will stay the official party line.
Made a deep impression on me at the time. Anyway, yeah.
So, I was 18. It was in the winter. I've never gone to the Hermon. And we said, you know what? It wasn't looking like it was going to snow by us here at the time. We did have a few snowstorms throughout the years, but it wasn't a snowy year. And we said, you know what? Let's go up one time and see the Hermon. Now, being a bunch of young kids, you gotta get prepared equally. So first thing you gotta do is you gotta bring at least 5 guys, because no one has money, and you gotta try to fill up the car so your expenses are lower. So we got 2 friends that were my age and 2 guys who were learning with us that were a year younger. Only one of us had a license. He was the only one who could drive. The reason I didn't get licensed was because when I brought it up, you said, if you friends let you drive your car around, then maybe when you're 40, I'll let you drive my car.
Now, to be fair, I told you, I said, you drove with me for so many years, you never had a role model of what good driving is supposed to be. Yeah.
So only one of us had it. And when you're young, you can't rent cars almost anywhere. So you got to go to these, private people who are going to take advantage of you.
rent a car.
Yeah, exactly. He works out of his backyard. You got to pay cash. At the time, it seemed very normal. So we got the 5 guys together. We went to get a car. Now, he could rent a car. Of course, they ripped us off with it, whatever it was. And you have to put down $1,000 deposit, cash. So who's going to find it? You're in America. I went to mommy and I said, listen, don't worry, we'll give it back right away. We're just borrowing it for the 2 days that we're going. We'll bring it right back. So we give him the cash. We get our stuff. We pack up. Now, the one thing you do different when you're a younger guy is that if you have a car, you fill it up with all the nonsense you don't need. Because if you're going around on buses or whatever, it's just as much as you can go on your back. You're not going to start schlepping around suitcases. But as soon as you can fill up a car, as much as fits in there, you're going to put stuff. You're like, oh, maybe I need some kind of tube for the pool. Yeah, just in case. And you're going to fill up the car with so much, baloney. And we did. So we have a full car. We start driving up. Now we had this great plan. So we were going to get up 4 o'clock in the morning, Tveria, leave Tveria, go up to the Hermon to see the sunrise. And we thought that was the best plan in the world. So we drove up to Tveria. So far, so good. We grabbed something to eat. We went to some motel where there was all 5 of us in a room for like 60 shekel a night. I mean, it was us and some rats and roaches and stuff. We all shared these the mattresses. It was fine. It was fine at the time. And sure enough, I'm skipping to get to the main parts. We get up in the morning. We fill up the car. We didn't get much sleep that night. We start driving up. Now, this is not like today. Today, when you go up north, I mean, everything's 2 lanes. There's all these new streets, big streets. You could drive great. Back then, you have a few streets, and it was 1 lane each way, and it was broken down. We start driving up to go up to the Hermon, and all of a sudden, the gear starts jumping and stuff. So we pull aside, and we close the car, and we try to restart it. The car can't start. Of course, this thing came with a 24-hour number. That was like Moishy, call his number. It wasn't even a cell phone. It was some house number. Obviously, no one answered the number. So we're stuck there at about 4:30 in the morning in middle of some highway with nothing around, and the car just broke down. So we're getting pretty frustrated, and shockingly, all of a sudden, a lot of people started stopping on the side of the way. This up north, people are nice. It's not like living down here. I mean, everyone was stopping. Jews, non-Jews. There was even this truck with a couple of Arabs came down, and I'm pretty sure they were trying to steal a battery or something because they took out a battery and put in another one. Like, oh, well, chill. Let me just check that the battery works. Just leave everything in the car just in case, So, and a lot of people try to help us, and nothing's going to happen. I'm going to fast forward a little bit because this was till about 9:45 in the morning. So we're sitting there for hours and hours and hours. We took turns, sleeping in the back seat. So we all have stiff necks. We're all starving. We had no food. It was terrible. All right, fine. The guy answers us all of a sudden. Everyone got on the phone in their turn to give a piece of their mind, tell exactly how they felt about his policies and stuff. And anyway, he says, okay, listen, I found you. There's 15 minutes away. There's a thing. But somebody's going to come and jump you guys. You got to go to this whatever, and he's going to fix your car, and, you'll be fine. All right. We go to some Arab village. The guy, after some negotiation with the guy on the phone, fine, he fixed our thing. All right, it works. So we're on our way. We go back. We start driving back up. We get to the Hermon. I'm skipping parts of the Hermon because these parts are less dramatic. Now, when you don't have a lot of money and you go to the Hermon, there's not much to do because it's just a big mountain with snow.
You played in the snow.
Right, but it's not that fun snow when it just comes down, that soft snow that you want to be in. It's hard, it's icy, 100 people already walked where you walked. And so you climb all the way up to the top of the mountain, you roll down, it was very cold, and you do. I mean, how much are you going to hang out there? After an hour, you're like, all right, let's go eat, So we spend whatever time we're going to spend, and we started driving back. We stopped in Tveria on the way back down. We grabbed whatever it is to eat, and then we got in the car to go back home. Now it was about, 1:30 in the afternoon. So it wasn't a full-packed trip, but we got to see the Hermon. We took some pictures. You got to say you were there. It happened to be beautiful. It's a big mountain. You see all the views around. It's really beautiful, but that's not this story. So we start coming down. Now, for this part, you'll need a little geography of Israel to know. So if you know, there's what's called Kvish Tishim, Kvish Beka, which basically goes from the Hermon all the way down to Eilat or whatever. Yeah, well, yeah, but also further all the way down. And once you pass Tzomet Tzemach, then you have a short while to drive till you get to Beit Shean. And right after Beit Shean, you have some checkpoint. Once you pass that checkpoint, that's in like no man's land. That's where you come ready to what's called the Shtachim, and there you could come to all the Yishuvim, the Israeli Yishuvim and the Arab Yishuvim. So there's a checkpoint you have over there. We started driving now. Before we hit Beit Shean even, all of a sudden, the whole car starts smoking. So right away I told her, yeah, pull over to the side. There was this little ditch on the side. We pulled over and everyone just jumped out of the car. Literally, we just jumped and started rolling on the floor just in case. I was sure the whole car's gonna explode. And we closed the car, but sure enough, nothing. The car's fine, but now we're scared. We turn it on again, it's smoking again. So we're back on the phone with the guy. It took us a couple hours to reach him, but finally after he answers, what am I going to tell you guys? I don't know what to do. Maybe you guys did it and stuff. I was like, listen, I told him I'm not happy with you. Believe me, I'm not happy with you. And I want to come back and we're going to sort this all out. Right now, I'm leaving the car here. You call your pickup truck or whatever. There's nothing we can do with it. We're going to have to figure ourselves out. And I'm going to see you tomorrow, back home. All right, he tells me, hi, the key's somewhere, whatever it was. He called his thing to come. And now we start standing on the side of the road, literally in the middle of nowhere, literally with nothing to see anywhere around. And we have to start hitchhiking. Now, you did not raise us to be hitchhikers. I mean,
kids, don't try this at home.
Take a bus, take a cab, figure out the money later. It's not for my neshama. Now, yeshiva guys, this is apparently very common today and back then. We even have a cousin, your nephew, who went all the way up to the Hermon, back and forth and hitchhiking, and that was part of the fun for him. Now,
I have a brother who hitchhiked to Alaska.
From where?
New York.
Really?
And back.
Wow.
Yeah.
Without getting himself killed.
I don't want to mention his name. I don't know if he wants this publicized, but he sort of boxed himself in. Anyways, that's an interesting story all of itself. But when you're going through the Northwest Territories in Canada, and suddenly the guy says, "I'm sorry, the truck won't take you up the hill," he just dropped you off with the moose. Anyway, but so you get a little idea what we're talking about here. Anyway, yeah, so in the middle of nowhere.
Now, remember, we packed the car with everything we didn't need. So we literally have bags and bags and bags and knapsacks and stuff. And it's 5 guys, so you're never going to get into one car.
Right.
Now, I always had these 2 younger guys who were a year younger that I felt, we have a responsibility for them. So these cars started stopping on the way. And I have to say, they're very, very nice people. So one guy had a car full of fruit. So I don't have room to take you, but he gave us fruit if we wanted fruit. And then slowly, it was 15 minutes, 20 minutes away, I don't know, from Beit Shean. So slowly, we started piling the guys onto the car, one by one or 2 by 2. And eventually, we all got to Beit Shean, to the main mall there in Beit Shean. It's about 7:15, 7:20 at nighttime. So most of this day, we were spending on the side of the road.
Correct.
Yeah. Guys could get very creative when you only have rocks to kick around. I mean, there was games and bets, and it was getting intense, but that's all we got. So 7:20, we get to the thing, we're looking around. No, the last bus left at 7:15. When I say last bus, I don't mean last bus to Yerushalayim, last bus out of Beit Shean.
Right.
No more buses till tomorrow, that's it. Now, you could imagine I was not happy. And we're sitting there. I was the only one who had money in my pocket. I had a 200 check in my pocket. Everyone else had maybe some change. We spend the money, we throw it on the way home. So
it didn't occur to you to maybe get a hotel room in Beit Shean for the night?
But yeah, the problem was we had to pay for it. So, and then we had to figure out tomorrow. Now, I didn't have, I think my cell phone died already at the time. And everybody else, I think there was 2 more who had a little bit cell phone left. Now, this is 15 years ago. I'm saying it was different phones. It wasn't like today. And I don't think we had car chargers or anything. It was like, that's it. That's what you had. Your phone, and when it dies, it dies. And so we started walking towards the entrance of Beit Shean, the end of Beit Shean where the 90 passes through it.
That's a big walk.
Well, it was. We didn't get all the way there. So, and then on the way, some of the guys started putting out their fingers, hitchhiking, like maybe someone will stop. And sure enough, after five minutes, this minibus stops. And he says, what do you guys need? He says, we need Yerushalayim. He says, I'm going to Yerushalayim, come in. We get in there. It was a minibus filled of Arab workers who were going to East Jerusalem. Now, today, maybe people will feel safer, but back then, it wasn't necessarily the safest feeling in the country at the time, 15 years ago.
I don't think it's so safe today either. Let's go on record with this. Don't get into a minivan filled with Arab workers.
But we all got out, all five of us. We sat in the back, and they started going. And then there was we were split in between everyone there on the minibus. Some said, let's just continue with him. He'll take us all the way home. This is, just by luck. Right away we got in, Hashem sent this guy. We're five guys. What are they going to do? Kill all five of us, These guys just work. They go every day from wherever they work there and they go back to East Jerusalem. You know what I mean? Let's stay. And other people said they're scared, and it was really split. But at the end, the majority said, let's go off. So fine. As soon as it came to the checkpoint, we said, from here, this is no man's land. So we get off here. So he told him, stop for us here. He's like, no, what are you scared about? Don't worry, we're good people and stuff. I was like, no, we have to get somebody else. You were just gonna come down. And so we're standing there just at this checkpoint, right before, in the Beka whole area. Now the soldiers who were there didn't let us stand with them because they said for security reasons, in case someone comes by shooting or whatever. So you have to stand on the other side of the street, where it's just open, there's nothing there. So we're standing there with all the stuff. By now, all the phones are dead. And we're just standing there, all five of us. Now, from here, we split up. Some people had it better than others, and I want to start with them. The first two came right away. This religious family came. They said they were going to Ramot or whatever. These guys needed to Ramat Shlomo, the Reches. It's very close, and they had exactly two seats. So they stopped for us. What do you need? We told them we got stuck. We broke down with the car. They took them in. They drove them there. They dropped them off. They had to hitchhike back. They got home after a couple hours. It was fine. The next one, we're standing there, and this guy who has this truck with like this little trailer stops for us, and he says he's a Dutchman, and he drove here all the way from Holland. That's what he said. He only spoke broken English, and he said he drove through all of Europe and through Turkey, and I don't even know how he got in, but he says I'm driving, and I'm planning to drive down to Africa. I was like, I don't know. That's, To this day, I couldn't confirm it or not. I don't know, but he says because of the bed in the back is only one seat, I could take one of you guys. I strongly advise nobody to go on, and I said this sounds to me crazy, but the other guy said, forget it. I can't take. I'm just gonna go. So he went in, and he was a really nice guy. He drove him. He was also living in Harnof at the time, and he drove him out of his way into Harnof. And he just took him right away home, and boom, the guy in an hour and a little was home.
Eliyahu Navi?
Yeah, maybe. I still don't believe it was a guy who drove the whole world in his car. Maybe I'm wrong. Anything's possible. Well, so me.
Now it's you and
my friend. Yeah, we're sitting there, and nobody stopped it. Literally, nobody stopped it. And it started to get dark, and we went to the soldiers a few times, and nothing's happening. So I'm gonna fast forward at about 11 o'clock, 11:30 at night. This old automobile, kind of big car, stops by us. I'm not sure. I don't know. It was just this old car, and the guy opens the window, and it was like a bunch of smoke comes out, like. And he's like, where do you need? And he has an Arab accent. So right away I'm reluctant. I'm like, I need to go to Yerushalayim. He says, I'm not going all the way to Yerushalayim, but I'm going to Tzomet Adam, which is a little bit before the turn on to the street, Kvish Echad, that would take you, to like Ma'ale Adumim and like that way into Yerushalayim. So we start hesitating again with my friend. I was like, let's just do it. And he's like, I don't know if I should do it. And the guys see us. It was three guys in the car, two up front, one in the back. And he tells us, oh, no, don't be scared. We're Druzim. We're not regular Arabs. So don't worry. We also don't like the Arabs. You could trust us. Don't worry. Come in. We're not going to kill you.
You know, I don't think there's anything more reassuring
Exactly.
than getting into a car where people say, don't worry, we won't kill you.
Now, it was a long day. We were tired and hungry, and fine, we got in the car. And he starts going, and they had this like heavy metal music in the car, and the basim were so loud. And literally every drum, like the whole car was shaking. And it's just not my kind of thing, you know. But people like that. These guys did. So we're driving in the middle. One of them, all of a sudden, an Arabic screams his friend, then started turning back. And I was like, "Oh, what's going on? You know, I know karate, whatever." He's like, "No, well, I lost my lighter." I was like, "All right, fine." Long story short. We get to Tzomet Adam. He lets us out. Fine, we're over there. Now they go, Baruch Hashem, everything was fine. We're stuck there now. What do? You're again in the middle of nowhere. All of a sudden I see a cab just came out of one of the Yishuvim or something over there. It's this Arab guy, and he has another friend up front. I had the 200 shekel in my pocket. I said, how much we need to go 2 stops in Yerushalayim. My friend lives in the Romema area. I live in Harnof. He told us whatever it was, 150 shekel. I said, fine, I have the money, fine, we're going to go in. So we get in the car. Then he says, just my friend here, do you mind if I just drop him off in Isuia? It's right over here. It's in our village. It's on the way. Do you mind if we drop him off? So I was like, okay, fine, just, whatever. Okay, fine. So we start driving. He goes in there. And right away in the entrance of the yeshuv, there was probably 20 or 30 guys, Arab guys standing there, and there was this big bonfire. They were burning tires and whatever. Now, it could be they were doing this for fun. Again, this is probably now maybe 12:30 in the morning or whatever. Like, it didn't seem normal to me, but now we go in there, and the guys see us and stuff, and all of a sudden they start screaming, whatever. Anyway, the cab driver gets all nervous. He says, just put your heads down so they don't see you guys, and so he stops for the guy Mamish in the middle of the village, all the way up to whatever it was. He dropped the guy off and he starts turning around. And all of a sudden there's all these guys. And now I didn't play the karate card as well. The last time I said, now I want to play. I was scared. I don't know what the guy's going to do. And I said, listen to me. I'm a black belt in this and I know all the jiu-jitsus and all that. Every name I said, if you play anything on me, I'm gonna kill you. I was like, you watch out. He's like, no, I don't want to get stuck here either. Let's just go. And we left. We got out of there. We start driving home, and he turns on the radio. And on the radio is one of these late night shows they had here at the time. And these callers call up, and this guy calls up. It was a show about addictions, and this guy called up about addiction, something like that. And we're just sitting there silent after a long day. And I told him, listen, it's very sad, addiction, whatever. And then he tells me, yeah, you don't have to tell me, my brother, he was addicted to drugs and to gambling. And then he starts telling me his whole life story. And he starts telling me he lost his house, he got divorced, his kids don't talk to him. Until eventually he OD'd and died. And this is, it's not funny, but I mean, this is, the guy just opened up. I wasn't even talking most of the time. It was just, he literally opened up, and then he starts crying, and he starts telling me the whole family fell apart. And it was terrible. But I was just listening to him. I was listening. When we got home, he dropped off my friend, and then we dropped off. When I came to pay him, he said, no, I don't take money. I was just had a good time talking to you. And so 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, I get home after a day like this. So I go to sleep, and in the morning, I call up the guy with the car, and he tells me, listen, I have some kind of insurance here, but you guys have to pay, and so the $1,000 you gave me, that's payment towards the car. I told him,
America.
I told him, listen.
I didn't find out about this for months. I found out months later.
I told him, listen, buddy, listen, I know where you live. I said, I'm going to come over right now.
I know karate and jiu-jitsu.
I didn't even have to use that. I said,
kill you with my thumbs.
You're gonna give me all my money now before I sue you for everything that you, whatever. And he did. He gave me back the money. He charged us, and I said, fine, we just paid for the car, even though we didn't really use the car. And I came back and gave mommy the money, and I said, let's just not talk about this for a while. Just, no one needs to know. Oh, and that was probably, I think, the only time I hitchhiked in my life, or ever, for sure, the last time.
And what is the takeaway?
Oh my God.
What do we learn from this story?
I mean, so many times I thought throughout my life how I would do things different, today. And I don't know. I don't know if there was anything to do different, But sometimes you plan the trip and you come prepared all over, and then your car falls apart and you have to start hitchhiking, through our villages. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? My story has a happy ending. Unfortunately, there's stories that have, less happy endings. And this is just for people to be careful, watch out, be careful, make sure you try to plan yourself as much as you can, and the rest is in God's hands. You can do what you do.
And there you have it, friends. The moral of the story is, with Bein Hazmanim upon us, get a Victor Miller tapes. Listen to them. Sit in an air-conditioned room and eat ice cream.
Kick back with a yated.
If you feel like you need to go out, go to the Ben & Jerry's store. And by all means, avoid the Beka Valley.
Oh my God.
And don't rent from Moishy. And there's a few Bein Hazmanim safety tips. I heard this story the first time years ago, and I was truly horrified. And I hope you are as horrified as I am. And mothers, tell your children not to do what I had done. Yeah. And be careful. Be careful when these things come. Safety first. And that's it for this week. I hope you have a wonderful Bein Hazmanim. To find out more about the show, go to my website, RabbiOrlofsky.com, where you can add comments, see my upcoming event schedule, contact me directly. And if you want to sponsor an episode towards the next $1,000 for the deposit of a rent-a-car, it's RabbiOrlofsky.com.
Well, you got it back this time. Next time, I don't know.
We have to go do crowdfunding. Anyway, RabbiOrlofsky.com/podcast. And click on sponsor an episode. I'm David Orlofsky.
I'm Yaakov Orlofsky. Thank you so much for having me. It's been great.
And this is the Rabbi Orlofsky Show.